Hi everybody, it's nice to be here. Welcome to Friendship Shaving. I hope you've had a great day today. I'm going to be shaving with a vintage Walbusch humpback slant razor. No, I'm not. I wish I was shaving with one of those. But I am going to be shaving with a razor that is based on that original vintage idea, and it is, as you can see, the PAA Alpha Ecliptic razor. Now this is a Bakelite razor, and I don't know if Walbusch of Solingen, Germany made a Bakelite razor, but the version I have seen, the humpback, has a slightly more rounded point on the head. It would have had a chromium plated metal head, a black Bakelite guard and chromium handle, and it would have had a black adjustment knob on the bottom of the handle because it was an adjustable razor, and that handle looks identical to the Merkur Progress. So perhaps Merkur did not originate that handle, although I know that the old manufacturers from that area of Germany, Solingen, worked very closely with each other. So this is the razor I'm going to be using today, and I'm going to be using some UKWSS shaving soap from OSP, and I've got some bloom water on the soap, and I'll just rub that into my face. Oh, it smells beautiful. Now guys, I've had a bit of folliculitis on my face, and you can't see it because it's actually starting to cure up, but it was terrible around here and on my neck and right around here. I read somewhere that lavender is a natural antiseptic, so I've been trying to use soaps with lavender, like for example my PAA barbershop soap has got lavender in it, so I've been using that, and the soap I'm using today has got lavender in it as well. I've been using an old bar of lavender hand soap, and it certainly seems to be helping, but I've got a new product just to wash myself with. It's a little bar of hand soap, and it's got something in it called neem seed oil, and neem is an Indian product that apparently is renowned for its antibacterial properties. It's got tea tree oil in, and it's got lavender in it, so I'll be using that from here on in. But just using the lavender soap and a really old bar of lavender hand soap has really helped me out, so perhaps that's something to consider if you find yourself with a little bit of folliculitis. Now I'm just loading my brush here up here with this soap. It's a real good hit of menthol on this soap, and I'm not super keen on the menthol, I'm really not, but it dissipates quite quickly and it leaves behind a beautiful scent. Really very nice. So, and the Alpha Ecliptic and the soap today have come from my friend Paul. So Paul, I know you'll be watching this, sir. You're an absolute gentleman. Thank you very much indeed. Now let's get this on and get the shave going. Oh, it's been beautiful weather today, so I hope that you managed to enjoy it. Oh, I'm using my synthetic brush, my Deluxe you know, I didn't think I'd like this soap because of the menthol. I'm really not a big menthol fan, as you know, but I do quite like this soap. It's real nice. There we are, I think that looks good. Oh. Now I'm going to be using a Derby Premium blade, and this has been sent to me by my buddy Flash Boredom in South Wales, aka Graham. Now he sent me these because I had an issue with the Derby extras, and I know these come in plastic containers, so I won't be buying any, but he thought I might like to try one, so very kind, thank you Graham. This is a chromium, ceramic, platinum, tungsten and polymer coated blade. So, and actually, having tried it once already, it's his second use, it's not my favourite. But it may improve on a second use. Let me dry my hands. They're a bit slick with soap. Now the idea of this razor, I'm sure many of you have seen this razor before, but the idea is that the shape of the head gives you the perfect shaving angle. And while I was talking about that vintage razor with a slightly rounded head, there is a company called Windrose. Let me just check that. Yes, Windrose. And if you look them up on eBay, you will see that they do a razor that has that original shape to it. It's not an adjustable razor like the original, but it has got that original shape, and it is a metal head. So, because this is a slant, I've had to start as I always do, this way, but I've got to be careful because the blade is slanted and I don't want to cut my sideburns in a slant, so it's a bit strange on there, but you can maybe see I'm putting the head straight onto my cheek, and that is the angle. And I have to admit, you'd think, wouldn't you, that it would be really intuitive, but for me it hasn't been. I've struggled a little bit with this. And as you can see, I keep looking at it. Ah, that's why. I can see the rounded end. Let me wash that off. I can see the rounded end in the mirror or in the screen. And I should have turned it this way so I can see . That's what I mean about it not quite being as intuitive as you might think. Now obviously with that shape, it's going to be a bit difficult to get under the nose. So I'm going to come in sideways and then turn it round this way. I am getting used to this, but it has taken me 4 shaves. I've had 4 shaves with this. Now I'm going to put a link up in the comments section, and it is from shavenook.com, and it is a fantastic article. About the development and design of slant razors. It's really, really well worth looking at if you're interested in seeing lots of different vintage designs and pattern drawings. The gentleman that wrote that article really researched this stuff well. It's fantastic. So I shall pop that up. Now I always thought that slant razors were really a product of Germany, and particularly of the Solingen area. They were certainly very popular in the 1930s, and I've written down a few manufacturers that you might recognise the names: Fazan, Ibsen, Mulcato, Lutz, and of course Merkur. And if you get a Pomco, a Hofritz or a Coles razor, they are rebranded Merkur slants. Now that's by no means an exhaustive list, but it just goes to show you how many companies were producing slant razors at that time in Germany. But according to this article, the slant razor is a British invention, and the patent was first filed in, I think it says 1916. Now I'm just finding, let me show you, that channel gets a little blocked. So just need to run that under the tap occasionally. That way around. There's an interesting conversation, isn't there, around the principle of a slanted blade. We all know that the slanted blade of a French guillotine worked much better than its previous sort of invention of the guillotine, which had a straight blade that just came down and chopped and required a heavy weight behind it. Obviously the slanted blade slices as it chops, so but does it work better as a razor? Well, I'll tell you at the end what I think about that. I do know that it is, or it appears to be recommended for people that have a very heavy growth or irritation and sensitive skin. It appears that for people that suffer with that, the slicing action works a little better. Perhaps it pulls the skin less. You know, this is Super Soap from OSP. I know it's an old one now, but my first artisan soap was the OSP barbershop soap. My sister bought it for me for Christmas, and I enjoyed it very much. Now to drop more water to this. I've got a really thick, pasty lather here. There we are, that will do. Now it's interesting, isn't it, that Gillette never made a slant razor. But of course, they did promote the idea of the Gillette slide. Perhaps they thought that technique was sufficient and that they didn't need to make a slant razor. The Gillette slide, for those that don't know, is the idea that you keep the razor head straight, but instead of shaving down your face, you shave at an angle, thus mimicking the idea of the slant razor. Now I'm going to go. Do you know, I've just realised I did against the grain on the first pass, didn't I? Sure I did. Well, there we go, we've got 2 against the grains. Do you know, I'm liking this actually. It's a nice shape. I'm finding that I am liking the lightweight razors. You'll know that I use the Mongoose aluminium razor on my last video, and I enjoyed that one very much indeed, and I'm enjoying this one too. It seems that I quite like the lightweight razors rather than the heavier razors. Do you know, it's this side of my face with the left hand. I'm really having trouble getting this flat on my skin, because when you get it flat on your skin, is effortless. It really is. When you don't quite get it, because that blade gap is quite big, so when you don't quite get that flat on, you tend to get right on that blade gap, and kind of, I feel it pulling my skin in, if that makes sense. It's definitely not intuitive for me, but a bit of practice and I think I'll get it. I can't seem to feel, mind you, using a menthol soap probably isn't the best idea, is it? If you're looking to feel, but I can't quite feel where that is on my skin sometimes. And I'm having a look, and then of course you put it back on and it's changed all over again. But there we are, that is my shave with the PAA Alpha Ecliptic. Douglas at PAA is very good at reimagining these vintage razors and producing them cheaply, allowing us to perhaps get a taste of what those vintage razors used to be like. Now the question, have I got a better shave with the Slant razor or not? Well, I should tell you, when I put my aftershave on, let me just clean myself up a little bit with some fresh water. Now I can tell you that I've been getting a good shave with this razor. It's I'm a little sore just there and just there. Now today, for my aftershave, I've got a matching aftershave lotion for the soap, and I like this actually. As I say, it gives you a real good hit of menthol. Wow! And this has got alcohol in it. And I quite like that, even though it stings momentarily. So my shave is very, very good indeed, actually. It's very nice. I've just caught myself there, I think. And I haven't got those bits, but I never get those bits because they grow at such an odd angle, and I just cannot go across grain on those. So no, I don't get a better shave than some of the better shaves I have with a standard double-edged razor. But your mileage may vary, of course. Nevertheless, it's been a very enjoyable experience to try this. Yeah, I've loved it. Oh yeah, I've definitely cut myself there. Yep, just because you've got a slant razor doesn't mean you can treat it any differently. Now at that point, I'll leave you my brains leaked out of my ears. At that point, I'll say goodbye. I hope you have a really good week. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you very shortly. I've got a great shave lined up for the next one. You take care of yourselves. All the very best to you. Look after yourselves. Bye bye.